So I previously made a video titled "What is Sin?" and I went into some depth about what it means to sin against God. But in this video, I'm going to show you a deeper, more profound view of sin. See, whenever I was younger, and probably whenever you were younger too, and maybe even up until this day, you were told the simple thing that sin is like separation from God, which that's true. It is separation from God, and we're going to talk about that. But there's a better definition, and it's in understanding what even it means to sin, like what the actual word means itself, not the Christian definition, but the actual definition. What are its origins? And sin is actually an archery term, and you might not think that matters, but this is a way deeper and way more profound way of thinking about it, because sin means to miss the mark. It's whenever you're shooting a bow and then you miss the mark on the target. And that's way more profound, and this is going to be a way more interesting video because of it. And you can miss the mark in a lot of ways. The first way is you can miss it barely. You can get really, really close, but you can still barely miss the mark. You can miss it by a lot. You can not aim. You can close your eyes. You can never pick up the bow in the first place. You can shoot it the opposite way. You can try to hit a different target. There's so many different ways that you can miss the arrow, and maybe every single one of those ways symbolically represents an action that we can take that goes against the will of God. And so that's going back to that separation thing. It is separation. It's separation from God because, well, imagine it with your parents. If your parents told you to do something and you didn't do it, that would obviously make your relationship with you and your parents, that would make that relationship worse because they just told you to do something and now you're not doing it. And so now they're going to yell at you. They're going to put you in timeout, take your phone away, or whatever they're going to do. And so to sin, it means to miss the mark. But what's the mark in the first place? What are we trying to aim at? And you have to understand that. You have to know who God is in order to aim at Him. Because aiming at Him means that everything you're doing is in alignment with His will. And you cannot get off by 1 degree, because if 1 degree, you just slightly move your bow, God's all the way out there. So you're going to miss Him by multiple feet, maybe even miles, depending on, how I'm using an example here. But you cannot go, half a degree away. Otherwise, you're going to miss. And even if you get close, it's not, oh, well, I got close enough. It's no, you missed the mark barely, and that's enough for it to be a sin. And so how do we know God enough to the point where we can aim at Him, aim at the most good and divine being? How do we know Him? Well, you can read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You can read the whole Bible, really, will give you a good idea of who God is. And that's going to be helpful, but it's not going to get you all the way there. You can read an autobiography about any person you want throughout history, but you're going to get way more out of actually talking to that person, actually having a conversation, trying to build a friendship with that person than reading an autobiography about them. And so you can talk to God. You can pray to God. What I think prayer is, at least in a simple definition, is direct communication with God. And the purpose of prayer is not to just have a fun conversation with God. You actually get something out of it. And what you get out of that is you get the steps to move forward. So ultimately, in order to not sin, you have to know who God is, and you have to point your bow and arrow at God, and you cannot miss the target even by 1 degree. Otherwise, you have sinned.